Oh God, I'm gonna die. I gotta get this on camera. No. Hey everybody, welcome to the Marino Show. I'm your host, David Marino. I am welcoming back writer, director, actor, Kris Bell. So happy to have him. His first film, What Dwells Beneath, actually premiered a few weeks ago. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about everything that he does. He's also known as the Grand Duke of Spook, which I love. He serves as the host for his own show, the Kreature Korner, and he's also the host for the CreepyCon Halloween Horror Convention in Knoxville, Tennessee. So, Kris, thank you for coming back on. I'm so appreciative.
Yes, thank you so much for having me back on. The Marino Show is one of my favorites ever since we got to do our first interview, and you were literally one of the first people I thought about when I was sending out screener links.
I'm so happy that you did, because mentioning What Dwells Beneath, you sent me the link to watch the film, to review it before it even premiered.
Yes.
And I remember our first interview when we talked about what you were trying to accomplish with this film. And I have to say, you did it. I am a huge supporter, as I've mentioned over and over and over again. I will say it till I die. I'm a huge supporter of indie filmmakers, indie actors, anything indie, because
yes,
you do a lot with less. But what you did with this film was phenomenal, from the acting to, you know, the special effects. I don't want to give too much away.
Sure.
How has it felt to finally get this out into the world?
Oh, it has been such a surreal experience, to be perfectly honest. I've told a few of my friends this, but I haven't really disclosed this to a lot of other people. But during the premiere, I got really there's a cold open that happens, and then the initial main title sequence rolls. And in the theater, when that main title sequence hit the screen for the first time, the audience just went nuts. People just cheering, and it was very overwhelming for me. Like, that much support and that much love in one space. I had to step outside for a second, because it was such an overwhelming moment of just triumph, really. Like, this whole experience has been a big learning experience for me, as a filmmaker, as an actor, as a lot of different things. And with this being my first film, this was really quite the crash course in learning how to cast, how to direct from in front of the camera, how to, you know, build a team of reliable people that I could count on, how to edit. That was really, I've done very small, short little edits and short, you know, very short videos, but nothing to this scale, nothing to the level of effects that I put into this thing. So it was very frustrating at times trying to figure everything out, but I'm so happy with the end result.
And I have to say, you know, and I'll let you explain or give a synopsis of the film, but it takes place in a cave.
Yes.
And, you know, you talking about just this being your first film and being a crash course, you also picked probably one of the most challenging locations to shoot your first film, whether not just the cave, but from lighting to just being able to shoot in cramped spaces.
Yes.
What was the shoot like once you actually kind of started going? I mean, did it all kind of go the way you wanted it to go? Was it just like spooky, kind of being in that atmosphere for this film?
Oh yeah. Most definitely. The cave itself. So, just to give everybody a quick synopsis on the film, we follow a group of urban explorers. There are 3 people in this team, and a 4th member has tagged along, which is one of the team members' brothers. He was nice enough to let him come out on their urban exploration with them, and this team of urban explorers travels to an abandoned tourist cave site where they're doing their normal little thing, but then they unwittingly awaken an ancient evil that should have never been disturbed.
Literal ghost town appears out of nowhere and an abandoned cave. Oh my god, this is gonna be so cool!
Locals even referred to it as Os Insania, which in Latin translates to the mouth of madness.
You tell me you really believe this shit.
Did I tell you about breaking stuff and staying low key?
I just wanted to go explore.
And the cave definitely lent plenty of scenes and plenty of scenery, plenty of gorgeous shots that we were able to get with the cave. But it was a very, very stressful, very tenuous process to get through it. We filmed for 3 days, which those days were anywhere from 12 to 15-hour days. Everyone was on set by 9 a.m. and everyone would probably leave around midnight or later every day. And I really tried to encourage people to take cave breaks, because when the cave itself goes back a little over a mile to the back of the cave. So at the furthest point back, I didn't make everyone go to the very back of the cave, but we were pretty close to the back of the cave for some of our shots. And during that point, you're anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes from the mouth of the cave. So like I said, I encouraged people to go outside, take breaks, get back out into the sunlight, because it's very disorienting under there. But then you also have to take into account, do you want to walk 30 minutes back, stand outside for 15 minutes, and then come 30 minutes back into the cave? Or do we just shoot for a few more hours and then everyone takes a break? Lighting the cave was definitely a challenge. This is an actual abandoned tourist cave that we were in. A lot of the lore that we talk about in the movie is true about the cave. That's why a lot of the kind of conversation seems so natural, is because these are conversations I've had with my friends going to this cave and doing little explorations into it. Lighting definitely was a problem, just because, you know, how do you light a cave while also making it look like you're not unnaturally lighting a cave? And there being no electricity, no running water, no plumbing, nothing out there, we relied on battery packs to run these lights off of. We were running maybe 2 lights at a time, and we're circulating through probably 8 different batteries throughout the entire shoot. We did have a few cast members dropped out about 2 weeks. The person that was originally supposed to play Gray had this scheduling conflict that happened, and you know, nothing to that person. They're a wonderful individual. They just had a big life change happen. They had to move, but unfortunately it happened about 2 weeks away from our shoot. And then our actress, Zoe Flanagan, who ended up playing Gray, literally stepped in at the last minute, took off from work to be out in the middle of this very remote location to film with us, and in my opinion, absolutely killed it. Zoe was a super pleasure to work with, and really everyone on set pulled their weight. That was a big problem that we had, was having enough people to really pull everything off. So people were pulling triple and quadruple duty on set, doing different things. So you know, filming in that kind of location and putting people through what I was putting them through, it was a lot to ask of people. So if I didn't have the crew that I had, I don't think would have pulled it off as well as we did.
So the actors, you mentioned Zoe, and then Jennifer Pearl. And
Jennifer Pearl,
And then who's the gentleman again? I'm horrible with names, so.
You're fine. That is Jonathan Llewellyn. So John is actually a friend of mine from my professional wrestling days. He and as soon as I say that to everyone, they're like, okay.
It totally goes with his character. Totally.
He's the perfect antagonist in it. I love everything he did in the film. There were things I had him scripted a very specific way, and he would take what I had scripted and then just add his own little things and like and like the character was perfect for him. He played it so well. And Jennifer really stepped up. There were a lot of very difficult scenes that I think wouldn't have come together as well without the acting prowess and level that Jennifer Pearl is at. So we had a very strong lead actress. The people in the crew or the people in the group on stage, I feel like had a really good chemistry together. I couldn't have asked for better co-stars in the film. And the people that played the monsters, we won't give away how many monsters there are in the cave, but we had a lot of creature actors, and most of the creatures took at least 2 to 3 people to puppeteer.
I was going to say, I imagine that was probably one of the hardest parts, right? Dealing with the creature and all of that. But again, going back to what I said earlier, we were talking before we started recording that it was so fun to see that the creature, come to life after talking about the film. And you did such a good job. Whoever did the special effects, and you can give them props here shortly, did an amazing job on that. Who did your special effects?
So as far as like the practical build for it, we actually had 3 different creature studios building for us. The Grotto, who is Brandon Heel out of Maryville, worked on one of our big guys and the some of the foliage and stalactites and things that we used. He worked on a lot of that. Then we had Brainchild Creative LLC, who worked on the large, kind of fella. Okay, he built that in about a week for me and then dropped it off on set. And then Cody Epling, who is with 865 Cosplay, he and his wife Kayla helped me design and build the more athletic monsters and some of the more in the hole monsters that we had, as well as being our special effect, like our makeup team and FX makeup.
Well, great job to all of them, because it really came together. And I have to give you props because you acted in the film as well. You're one of the main characters.
Yes. And that was a lot of fun. The reason that was so easy for me to do, I had a really great AD in Tyler Broadway, who I was very much able to Tyler was with me almost every step of this, from helping me draw out the whole storyboard to doing location scouts with me and going out there. Tyler was someone that really had the same vision as I did. He and Brian Michaud, who is an amazing production mixer, he was our sound technician on the shoot, and the 2 of them really helped kind of sculpt this thing into what we had all talked about. And just being able to take my mind completely off being behind the camera so I can focus on the scenes was just a huge weight off my shoulders. And I can't thank Tyler and Brian enough for being there.
Yeah, because I mean, you're in the whole film. So being the writer, director, and then having to be in front of the camera as well through not just one scene. I mean, you're in the whole film.
Right.
It's great that you did have that support to make everything run smoothly. Now that you've had, and I want you to talk about the premiere again, this premiere, you had a premiere a few weeks ago in Tennessee, right? And,
yes.
Tell me how that went, and, what's next now? Because we talked again offline about this now going through the sort of festival circuit, but tell me, you know, what the premiere exceed your expectations?
Absolutely, it did. We saw over 200 people through the door. The theater held 250 people, and there were very minimal seats that weren't full. It was so awesome getting to see not only how people reacted to it, but we had a special thing that when everyone came out of the theater, we had all the monsters set up in the lobby. So you could come out after you see the movie, take pictures with the monsters and meet the monsters and things like that. And just seeing how people reacted to this thing that you've worked so hard on, and that was just this idea that came from, you know, seemingly nothing. To see people react to that is just, you know, it's a mind-boggling experience. The premiere went very, very well. I have been very fortunate to have the help that I've had. My fiance, Ashley, has very much, she has donated countless hours in production assistanting and helping me run the shoot. She's the whole reason I ever even found the cave in the first place. Like, the movie wouldn't exist without her. And now the premiere went so well that we actually had popular demand for a second screening for people that weren't able to attend this one. So the good folks over at the Cherokee Caverns, we're recording this, on the 27th today. So on the 29th, this Saturday, we will actually be having a special screening inside the Cherokee Caverns of What Dwells Beneath. So you can come sit in an actual tourist cave and watch a scary movie about people, you know, stumbling into it, a spooky tourist cave.
That's a fun, immersive experience right there.
I really think so. You get a cave tour with your ticket and a screening of the movie. So, you know, I literally don't think there's going to be a better way to view this movie than in a cave. So tickets for that have already almost sold out. I think I checked today and there were maybe 12 seats left. So it's going great. And after this, we've only done our special screenings. It's not available for digital download or available on Blu-ray or anything like that currently, because it is now destined to make its film festival circuit run. We have been applying to a lot of different ones. We've gotten into the CreepyCon Film Festival, which is their first year running. So if you come to CreepyCon this year to hang out with me, you'll also get another chance to view the film at their film festival. And we'll be announcing the other festivals that we do make it into as we get those announcements.
Well, now that you've got this under your belt, and again, it will be making its way through the festival circuit, what is your hope? What do you hope comes out of this? And this being your first film, I'm very sure you already have lots of ideas of what you want to do next. But are you hoping that this sort of sets that up, like even financially?
Yeah, that's a really good way to put that. Yes. Because with What Dwells Beneath, I feel like we've said what we need to say. I don't intend on really expanding on it anymore or creating a longer version of it. One of my biggest pet peeves in horror films are people create these 1 and 45-minute to 2 hour long films, and an hour and a half of it is all filler and fluff just so they could make a 2 hour film. There's no filler and fluff in What Dwells Beneath. And so it gets straight to the point. And so what I hope that people see with this is they look at this and it's a fun watch for people. I wanted to make very much a love letter back to the horror community that has been so wonderful and accepting to me. And I feel like people have very much enjoyed it, people that have seen it, and creating this fun movie with such difficulty behind it, really, like the difficulty of the location and the amount of time that we did it in, and the budget that we had was realistically around $1,300 is what I was able to raffle up for the film. And I probably spent $300 or $400 of my own money on it. So I would like for people to see that and go, wow, you know, if this person can do this much with this little, what if we do give him more money to produce something else and see what he could do with more? So yeah, in hopes that this kind of opens up doors even financially, was a very good way to put that. So yeah, that's definitely my hope for it, is that one, it gets in front of as many people as it can, and people just enjoy it. That's my biggest hope for it.
I did not know that the budget was 1,300. I mean,
Yeah.
that's insane, because again, the creature, stuff alone is a lot of work. And then of course you have the actors and the production crew, and to be able to pull off what you pulled off with $1,300 and for this film. I can't wait until, when it's done with its festival run, and then people can actually, when it does, wherever it's online, people are able to actually see that, because you're right. It's very important, especially in the industry that you're in filmmaking and indie filmmaking, that it's all dependent on people backing you up and helping fund these projects. And
absolutely.
I'm really proud of you, though. I mean, honestly, I did not. That was a shock to hear that. That's crazy.
I honestly, I was surprised we raised as much as we did on the crowdfunding. It's the first time I've ever crowdfunded anything. And for people to take a risk on someone that's seemingly unknown, to say, okay, this person has a vision. We like the story. Let's see what this guy can do with it. So to all those people that did back us during our Indiegogo campaign and have continued to support us through this, these things would not exist without you all. So thank you as an indie filmmaker to all of you for making my dreams come true.
It probably seems weird talking about the next film when you're still kind of in the midst of all of this. But I just want to ask, because I know you love creature features and you've done it. Is there anything percolating in terms of what you would like to do next?
Definitely.
Another horror film, or, what are you looking at? And I call this horror, but it is horror, but it's that creature feature genre, and I love it. So what I love about horror is that there's so many different,
so many subgenres. Yes. So I do have some big ideas for some future things. I think in my next one, I probably will still go one more in a horror direction still, but other ideas I have are a little less horror related and more thriller-esque, and even like comedy action kind of. Like I have some other people that I'm talking to about doing some things in that arena. But as far as horror goes, I'd really like to do something that's almost just like hyper violent in the next one. I really want to do some crazy kills and things like that in my next one. There wasn't a lot of blood. I can give that away. There's not a ton of blood used in What Dwells Beneath, just simply because of the environment. I didn't want to dump a bunch of fake blood all over the place in a historical cave. That just didn't seem respectful. And you know what? The very first Halloween didn't have a drop of blood in it. So
it did not.
Drop of blood in that movie.
In my original Halloween. Yeah. I have to say, though, speaking of, I know there wasn't a lot of blood in it, but there is one really fun kill that was my favorite. I won't give it away, but you probably can figure that out. It was the most violent one.
Yes.
That was fun. That was so fun to see that. I know I'm sick. We're sick, because we're
sick, twisted people, but it's fine.
But I just, when I saw that, I'm like, that was really good. That was a really good execution of that specific kill. Because as you have, I've watched so many horror movies, and my favorite genre is the slashers from the 80s, the campy ones. But they have some of them have some really good kills. And what I love about What Dwells Beneath, it kind of takes me back to, not slasher, but it takes me back to a time when I'm a huge fan of special effects done like this, practical. It looks real. It's not like too much in what you see sometimes with the films of today. It's manipulated. It's not as, I mean, they did it all. They had to do it all themselves back then. You know, it wasn't with the makeup, with the kills. And so that's what I loved about your film, is that it kind of takes us back to that time and to the time of the creature features. And I know that was something you wanted to accomplish. And so I think that's awesome that you were able to do that. And, aside from filmmaking and acting, we'll touch on a little of this. You're called the Grand Duke of Spook.
That's me.
you host your own show, the Kreature Korner, and then you're involved in the CreepyCon Halloween Horror Convention that you just mentioned here a little bit ago in Knoxville, Tennessee. All of that stuff, I'm sure, keeps you very, very, very busy. But I'd like for you just to kind of talk about, and you mentioned it a little earlier, your life does kind of revolve around horror and this kind of fun world. What has it meant to you to be, not just with the filmmaking, but for so long, as we talked in our first interview, you have been doing this, you've been working, you've been involved in this genre, you've met a lot of people in the world of horror. How has it changed or contributed to your life or shaped you as a person and having this around you in this community?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've done a lot of different things in my life. I've really gone down a lot of different entertainment avenues, and a lot of times I would do things and I would be really passionate about it for a while. And after it stopped being fun, I stopped being so passionate about it. I stopped enjoying it so much. And horror has been something that I've always been around. It's something I've always enjoyed, even just comedy horror like Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters and anything the Marx Brothers did back in the day. I absolutely loved that style of physical comedy and horror. And after I got out of professional wrestling, I started doing stand-up comedy, which I still absolutely love doing stand-up. That's something that I'm very passionate about still. But through that, I was able to get into this convention scene and really find my voice as not only a host, but as an entertainer, to create this character that could be in the horror arena, but didn't have to be gloom and doom. And, I didn't have to be this badass, whatever. I could be goofy, this cartoon character, almost with like Beetlejuice energy all the time, that people are so accepting of, and people they love the Grand Duke of Spook.